Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everybody. We're yapping in between the commercial breaks, talking about flashers and different baits and this and that. So we're going to talk about leader lengths, okay? Now, a 360 flasher, the evolution from Braz or anything else that's out there, is a significantly different attractor than a fish flash, right? Fish flash is pretty stagnant. I mean, it's just sitting in one spot. It's putting off flash. It's extremely popular for a reason. But there's also a reason why 360s and evolutions like this are taking, a lot of fish these days. You just have to fish them a little bit differently. So let's just say this, behind a fish flash, right? Yep. Or an inline, whatever you want to call them. What's the leader length that you like in comparison to, say, a 360 when you make that conversion?
Yeah. So behind any sort of triangle flasher, I'm generally going to be 5-6 feet.
Right. Oh, okay, true. Okay, sure.
So,
48 to 60 inches rough.
Yeah, because you're not, when you have a 360, it's imparting the action.
Sure.
So you don't want to get too far out because you're taking away the action the further back from the flasher you
get.
It's
not going to implement that action on the bait itself.
Exactly. Right. This is just an attractor. The triangle flasher is just an attractor. Yep. It's just some bling to bring them in. Yep. And and I hope I'm not letting out any secrets here, but this is something I've done a long time, and this is something that would certainly apply right now.
Yeah.
Right now? Right? Did I say right now? Okay.
I'm hoping that you're catching what he's pitching.
Even maybe naked, without anything.
Okay, elaborate.
Just running the cut plug along the bottom, just like you normally would, but with no bling in there. Just let the cut plug be the bling.
I was letting him get that out there. Really?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, track some people that are having success though.
See? There's sometimes when you can be different than everything else out there. If there's no big bulb floating down the river, along the bottom, and then here comes a bait, and it's just a bait, just by itself. I'm just a lonely herring. Please don't eat me. It makes sense.
So think about what's going on. So Tuesday, we both fished Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Dead, slower and slow, frustrated. What's going on here? Done with this Springer fishing thing.
Yeah. Already. First week of April, I'm out.
Exactly. And now later in the week, all of a sudden, it's starting to ramp up, right? So more people, reports are going out. You call one buddy, he calls 6, he calls 12, and, so it goes. So we're seeing a lot more. I just drove over I-5.
Yeah.
My gosh, compared to a week ago?
Right.
Yeah.
A lot more boats.
A lot of boats, right? So they're getting a lot of this flash, a lot of this bling, and generally when it gets a lot more active like that, I will scale back.
Okay. Just kind of just trying to minimize things.
Exactly.
So that you're not making as much of a noise, if that's the way to put it.
Every boat's got 6 rods with all this bling, and you're just coming right along the bottom, just that little...
Don't mind me, don't mind me.
Yeah, okay. Don't look at me, don't look here, don't look here. Right.
So you mentioned behind an inline, a longer leader. Now what about behind, say somebody just said, forget it, I'm just going to go over to 360s right now, which is a thing. Is a thing, everyone. Right now, if they were to make a change to say the mini or even the kokanee size, right? What would be a leader length
good
behind?
question. So you're going to want to go from that, 5 to 6 feet down to now you're looking 24 to 30 inches somewhere in there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
so similar-ish to what we would be doing in the fall, but maybe just a sliver longer?
Well, I'm a big proponent of doing different ones and letting the fish tell me.
All right. How much action they actually want to see.
Exactly. On that day. So you're going to be running different sizes, like I'm always doing, changing them out. This size, I've got a bucket filled with them, and change them out and let the fish tell me what it is.
What's your favorite size? If I got questions, which I get obviously a lot of them, about the cut plugs. Okay, there's multiple different, there's the original, there's the mini, there's the kokanee. What would be the preferred size behind an Evolution or a 360 flasher? What's your preferred size behind it?
There is no preferred size.
There is no preferred size. Okay.
They all work. Even the skinny, they all work. Gotcha. If you're asking my preferred, if I had one plug to take to one fishery and fish it, it would probably be the mini, just because of the size, right? You're not going to throw them off for being too big, not too small. That's probably the most versatile.
Okay.
But that being said, there are times where the standard is actually absolutely what they're looking for, and times where the kokanee cut plug,
right?
That
little tiny kokanee guy. That's why I mentioned. Well, I haven't even gotten there yet. Anyway, it's one of those things where you look at it, it's just so small that you're thinking, well, why would a 25-pound Chinook come up and bite that? Well, number one, in the spring, there aren't any 25-pounders left anymore. If there were, go buy a lottery ticket, okay? Simple as that. Now fall maybe whatever, but if fall fishing, bigger fish generally, they just go crazy for that little thing behind the 360. It's the nuttiest thing. Just make sure that you put some good hooks behind it, or trust me.
Yeah, the largest
you'll get
teams we've
humbled in a
got have
hurry.
been on the kokanee cut plug.
Yeah, they really have
several
been.
years.
Okay, so next question. I got this actually from one of our Facebook fans as well. And this is where I kind of thought, maybe I screwed up a little bit, where I really should have thought about running the killer fish a little bit more, because I had 2 rods to play with on the Columbia. And so when it gives you that kind of flexibility, and I was getting my bites on coon shrimp and spinner blade. When it gives you that kind of flexibility, I've got to have that coon shrimp out there and a blade flopping and making noise down there. But my other rod, I'm swapping out, right? I'm going from one bait. I had herring. I had, which I love cut plug herring on the anchor. I'm sorry. It just looks so good with the right current, of course.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, everywhere in between, whole sand shrimp. I probably should have spent more time with one of these. So here's the question that I was given or asked: 14 or 15? When you're talking about our fish that we have today, 20 years ago, I wouldn't have fished anything smaller than a 15. But a 14, 15, what would be your preferred size?
Yes.
No matter what the conditions?
No, there are conditions. So last year, compare last year with this year, completely different deal. We had cold water that lasted a long time and smelled in the river longer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
High water, into the weeds. I mean, there are times you're fishing 6, 7 feet of water.
Yeah.
10
I love
feet.
that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's made this year such a challenge, because like the old rules of springer fishing just kind of went out the window.
Right.
I mean, that, if you're 15 to 25 feet and you're in the zone. Now there's people catching them in 50 feet on the bottom.
Okay.
So it's kind of been spread out all over. Now with just these last few days, they're starting to get back to those standard rules of springer fishing.
Okay. So if you were to say fish shallow water, deep water, would that cause you to
so
change
I'm
from
shallow. I'm going to go to 14. And especially more clear water. The dirtier the water gets, the deeper that you're going to get. 15, even 16.
Yeah.
We have the 16 size, and don't forget about the non-rattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know guys right now that won't fish a plug with the rattle on it.
Yes.
All right.
It's funny. You got both sides.
It's true. Don't go anywhere. Typically, I'm going to wrap up my conversation with my guest, but I'm not. I got a little bit of time. We're going to bring him back here when we have your deal of the week from Fisherman's Marine. We'll be right back.